Well, folks, welcome back to another video right here on Jason's Wrestling Channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about World Championship Wrestling. And it started out as the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. And then Turner Broadcasting bought it, and they turned it into World Championship Wrestling. And it was ran by a guy named Jim Herd. Now, Jim Herd ran wrestling promotions a little bit different than other promoters because he didn't believe in wrestling mats. He believed that everything should happen on the cement floor, which is kind of stupid. And wrestlers were getting hurt because they kept landing on the cement floor. Eventually, Jim Herd had gotten fired. So they brought in Eric Bischoff. And Eric Bischoff changed WCW. Well, he started using ring gimmicks and stuff. And he was doing good. One day in 1996, they had a meeting around the table. And Ted Turner said to his staff, give Eric an hour every Monday night on TNT. Now, Eric Bischoff wasn't prepared for that because they were trying to find ways to compete with WWE. And so Monday Nitro was born. Now, keep in mind, at the time, Raw was taped and Nitro was live. And so they didn't know what was going to happen on Nitro. But WCW used to get the results of what was going to happen on Monday Night Raw a half hour before Raw was supposed to go on the air because they didn't want you to watch any other program. So Eric Bischoff would give away Monday Night Raw, everything that was going to happen on Monday Night Raw, all the results. And they were beating Monday Night Raw in the ratings. So finally, Vince McMahon got smart because he was losing every week in the ratings, and he decided to go live every week with his shows. So he went live, and they sort of lit a fire underneath the WWF. So one day, Tony Schiavone said, because Raw was taped one day, because they couldn't go live for some reason, he said, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack that used to work here, is going to win their world title. That should put a lot of butts in the seats. So then, people watched Raw just to see the title change. They want to see the title change because Tony Schiavone got the results from the USA Network, what was going to happen on Raw, because it was a taped show. And he said that, it should put a lot of butt in the seats. And it did, because Raw ended up beating Nitro in the ratings. And eventually, the ratings started dropping for WCW. And Turner Broadcasting executives weren't happy about it. And they tried to bring it back up again, but they couldn't. So then they told Bischoff to go home. And then they brought in Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara to run WCW. Now, Russo had his own ideas. When he first came, he was called the Powers That Be, him and Ed Ferrara. They never showed their face on TV. You just heard Vince Russo's voice. He was like sitting behind a desk. And he was like talking to like the wrestlers about the matches and what matches that they were going to do. But you never saw his face. So finally, people got sick of that. And then they got rid of Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara, and they brought Bischoff back. Actually, they got rid of Ed Ferrara. They kept Vince Russo. They brought Bischoff back. And then Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara was working. Eric Bischoff were working for a while. And Eric Bischoff didn't like working with Vince Russo because Vince Russo ran things differently and he wasn't used to the way that things were ran. And then one day they had a pay-per-view called Bash at the Beach. Hulk Hogan was supposed to wrestle Jeff Jarrett. And so Jeff Jarrett was the champion. Hulk Hogan said he wouldn't lose to Jeff Jarrett. So he was telling Russo basically that he wasn't going to lay down. He wasn't going to do this. So Russo came and told Jeff Jarrett, just lay down. He's like, let him have his title and let him get out of here. And so match came. Hogan comes out. Jeff Jarrett laid down and he pinned him. Hogan goes, is this your deal, Russo? This is why this company is in such bad shape, because of bullshit like this. So then he pinned Jarrett and he took the WCW title and he left. Him and Bischoff left the building. And they were on the airplane. Vince Russo came out. And he was talking about how he was playing his creative control card with Hulk Hogan. And how Hulk Hogan was a piece of you know what and this and that. So Hogan saw this. And on top of it, Vince Russo made a match. He gave the belt back to Jeff Jarrett. And Jeff Jarrett defended it against Booker T. Booker T ended up beating Jeff Jarrett for the WCW title. And according to what they were saying is that Russo had no power to make the match. I guess Bischoff and Hogan took it to court. And they said that Russo had no power to make that match. He didn't have any right to do that because Eric Bischoff was in charge of things at the time. Russo was just working there. So then Vince Russo eventually got fired from WCW. Eric Bischoff couldn't bring the company back. He didn't know what to do. So he said to the Turner Broadcasting people, he's like, why don't you let me buy WCW and try and turn it around? Brad Siegel goes, I'd never sell this thing. He was, I'm not going to sell this thing. Hell no. So then Bischoff went away, and I guess they decided to sell it to him, so they signed a letter of contempt. The deal, nothing was finalized though. So Eric Bischoff had the money to buy the company, but then he gets a phone call. He's on vacation, and he gets a phone call, and it's Brad Siegel saying, Eric, the deal's off. I can't sell it to you. We got a higher bidder. Eric Bischoff goes, what do you mean? He goes, a higher bidder? He's like, who's the higher bidder? And he's like, I can't tell you. He's like, we had a better offer. And then he's like, but we signed a letter of content. And he goes, okay. He goes, I'll sell you the logos and the rings and stuff, but I won't give you TV time. And when Eric Bischoff heard that he couldn't have TV time, then he backed out. And then Vince McMahon ended up purchasing WCW. And originally the WWF, from what I hear, Vince McMahon never had any intentions of really shutting it down. He wanted to put it on another network, but they couldn't find another network for it. So they had no choice but to cancel the show. But they tried to keep it alive because they had like an invasion angle where WCW wrestlers would come on Monday Night Raw and invade WWF. But that didn't really work because they brought ECW into it. And it was the Alliance. So they ended the Alliance, and it was the end of WCW. And WCW never really made a comeback, which is really sad. Because it should. They should bring it back, at least for one night, or bring it back for another television show. Give it another run. See where it goes. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and also subscribe to Flash Gordon Rock Band Sing Star Rock Band. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.